Most common reasons pointed out by listeners would be: number 1, they sold out. 2, they matured. 3, they age. 4 is my reason that does not seem to be as popular, but I find it very valid in these circumstances. Let's start one by one. Number 1, they sold out. It's a valid point, especially if you take into consideration the current condition of rock and heavy metal music. It's not very popular, plus bands can no longer rely on album sales as their main income like they used to. So touring and merchandise sales serve as main source of income. So in some cases bands are forced to lighten their material and go mainstream. Sometimes it's done with grace, but mostly it feels just wrong, as some bands just go along with trends that come and go to stay relevant. But of course, people that are in bands that have been around for at least 10 years are at a stage in their lives when they need money more than ever, due to most of them having kids and families. We as fans or casual listeners selfishly sometimes forget that there are people behind our favorite music that have needs and responsibilities other than being dedicated to their music and fans. But of course, musicians have been selling out long before the physical copies of albums lost their value, but that is an entirely different story for some other time. 2. The band matured. You can say a band matured when a band outgrows their old material, no longer finds it challenging or interesting. But unfortunately, in case of rock and metal bands, maturing is confused with simplification of music quite often. For example, if a band is known for having unusual song structures and then uses song structures such as verse, chorus, that is not an improvement. Of course, for some bands that might be a new direction they never took before, but it is still a simplification of song structure, so these are dangerous grounds for a band with progressive elements. When a band that is known for being innovative is no longer innovative and has become repetitive by rehashing their old material, that is not natural progression. When a rock or metal band turns pop, that is not maturing. Turning pop in such a manner that a band can boast to all the pop acts. This is how it's done, by showing some quality and actual context to their material. That is maturing. But this is very rare. Only Nirvana comes to mind. In fact, I think they did it twice. First, with Nevermind, by introducing pop song structures and overall pop qualities, yet still maintaining quality and meaning behind it all. Second time is with In Utero, when Nirvana dialed it back and wrote some heavy songs that have no place on a regular pop record. Yet some of their songs still maintained that quality pop sound of Nevermind. As a result, with In Utero, Nirvana managed to alienate some fans that liked Nirvana for all wrong reasons: its popularity. Yet, when Nirvana introduced those heavier vibes back into their repertoire, it didn't seem forced. Those who know Nirvana's old material are aware that this is where the band originally came from, musically, and their overall worldview as artists and musicians. They demonstrated how a band should evolve and mature, if you like. Fans need to be real about these things instead of going for an approach of whatever my favorite band does, I will love it because, well, it's my favorite band. This is bad for your favorite band. This is bad for listeners. This is bad for music, because if you keep giving false feedback, you will receive false material in return. 3. Age. Well, that's an obvious one. As people age, their outlook on the world changes, as well as their priorities. And considering we are talking about bands that had some success, people that achieved success in their careers are perhaps accomplished and have a lot less things to be angry about in comparison to when they were young, hungry and trying to make it. And of course, physically people get worn out with years, and it becomes harder to rock out than it used to. Which brings me to my final point, that I think is overlooked quite a bit. Number 4. Singing heavy and intense material becomes a lot harder, as voice wears out over the years with extensive touring and demanding nature of rock and metal music. Of course, I'm talking about all the screaming and general intensity of material that is characteristic for heavy music. As the voice is an instrument that is within a performer's body, it is affected a lot more with aging of one's body in comparison to any other instrument. In addition, artists quite often lead unhealthy lifestyles with easy access to large amounts of alcohol and drugs. So, we often see a decline of aggressive use of singers' voice as they progress over the years, which makes bands' overall sound less heavy with time, because instruments have to accommodate what the singer is doing, regardless if a performer uses safe techniques to achieve the desired distorted sound or not. Screaming will wear out one's voice faster than regular singing would. The quality of their performances or amount of aggression in their performances in most cases will lower with time. Of course, with years, singers become wiser with how they use their voices, which leads them to go for safer techniques and focus on healthier use of one's voice. There are quite a few examples. But is it enough for the band to significantly change their sound in general? I believe so, because they are literally the voice of the band. This is where the emotion and context of songs is coming from, as well as the connection with the audience, as they sing along with the singer. Most bands can't exist without their original frontman or woman. Many of them are simply irreplaceable. So, this leads me to dig deeper on how singers' voices change over the years.